The sun hovered low over the dusty horizon of Deadman's Creek, turning the sky a bruised orange. Heat shimmered above the hard-packed earth as if the whole world were holding its breath. In the center of town, a wooden platform, bare, cracked, unforgiving, waited like a hungry animal. A crowd gathered, boots scraping, spurs clinking, voices buzzing with a mix of excitement and dread. Mothers clutched their children's hands a little tighter. Old men leaned on canes, squinting as if wanting to look away but unable to resist the pull of spectacle. Atop the platform stood a woman. Her white dress, once simple and modest, was stained with dirt and dried blood. A burlap sack covered her face, tied with a rough rope at the base of her neck. Her hands were bound. Her breath came in shallow, trembling bursts. Beneath the bag, a bruise was blooming across her cheek. She was alone, terribly, hopelessly alone, and the whole town had come to watch her die. Bring her forward. The sheriff's voice cut through the murmurs. Sheriff McGraw was a big man with a belly that strained against his vest, his face sunburned and his eyes cold. He tugged the rope that wrapped around her wrists. Let's get this over with. From behind the crowd, spurs jingled, slow, steady, deliberate. The townsfolk parted like wheat in a windstorm. A tall man walked forward. Broad shoulders pushed through the onlookers. Dusty boots, a weather-beaten hat pulled low. His jaw was cut from stone, dark stubble shadowing his cheeks. His name was Caleb Thorne, known in these parts for two things: he kept to himself, and he didn't fear a damn soul. He stopped at the foot of the platform. His eyes, cold gray, sharp as a bowie knife, rose to the hooded woman. "Sheriff," Caleb said, voice gravelly from disuse. "That's her," McGraw grunted. "Mary Lawn, caught stealing from the mercantile. Again." He spat into the dust. "Judge sentenced her to hang at sundown." The crowd murmured approval. Caleb's jaw tightened. All this for a stolen loaf of bread. "Law's the law," McGraw shrugged. "Besides, you know how it is. If we let one slide, the whole town slides." A smirk. "Less you want to pay her fine for her. $35. Caleb reached into his vest pocket. Coins clinked. "I'll give you $2. One for her fine." He held up the silver pieces, letting them gleam in the dying light, "and one for the rope you ain't gonna use." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone spat. Someone else muttered, "Damn fool." McGraw's expression twisted. "You really wanna waste good money on a thief?" Caleb ignored him. "She goes home with me." Mary lifted her head at the sound of his voice. Hidden under the burlap sack, her breath caught. She whispered, not loud enough for the crowd, but loud enough for Caleb. "Please, just make it quick." Caleb blinked. "I ain't here to hurt you." She trembled. "Then why buy me?" A knot formed in Caleb's throat. He didn't answer, not yet. McGraw grunted, snatched the coins from Caleb's hand, and stuffed them into his vest. "Fine, she's yours." He sliced the rope binding her ankles, then shoved her off the platform. Mary stumbled, nearly falling, but Caleb caught her. His hands were calloused but gentle. "Easy," he murmured. The crowd jeered. "She ain't worth the rope." "Caleb, you gonna tame that wildcat?" "Bet she bites." Caleb's eyes hardened. "Y'all got something better to do," he growled. "Or you just enjoy picking on someone smaller than you." Silence. At least 3 men looked at their boots. Caleb shifted Mary's weight and placed an arm around her shoulders. "Come on," he said softly. "I'm taking you out of here." Dash dash dash. He led her down the main road, away from the crowd, away from the platform, away from the hateful eyes that had watched her suffering with a hunger that made Caleb's stomach twist. Mary's breath shook beneath the burlap sack. Why are you doing this?" Caleb didn't answer right away. His boots kicked up dust as they walked past shuttered storefronts and dimly lit saloons. Finally, when the noise of the crowd faded into the distance, he stopped. "You can take that off now," he said quietly. Mary flinched. "If you're gonna kill me, please," her voice cracked, "just make it quick." Caleb stepped in close. "Mary, look at my hands." She hesitated. He reached up slowly, so she could pull away if she wanted, and tugged the burlap sack free. Under the bag was a woman with tangled chestnut hair, dirt smudged across her cheeks, and eyes the color of broken amber. She stared at him, expecting anger, cruelty, something dark. But Caleb's expression held none of that. He looked at her as if she were a human being, something she hadn't felt in a very long time. "Mary," he said, "I ain't here to hurt you. I bought your freedom." He pressed the sack into her hands gently. "Not you." She stared, stunned. "But, why?" Caleb adjusted the brim of his hat. "Because I know what it feels like to have no one stand up for you. And because," his jaw worked as if chewing on a hard truth, "you weren't stealing for yourself." Her breath hitched. "How do you know?" Caleb looked down the empty road, past the setting sun, toward the hills where his lonely ranch sat. "Because I saw the way you hid the bread in the mercantile. You weren't planning to eat it. You were planning to take it to someone." Mary swallowed hard. "My brother," she whispered. "He's sick." I had nothing left. I didn't know what else to do. Caleb nodded once, slow, certain. "Then let's go help him." Her eyes widened. "What?" Caleb stepped back, giving her space. "You don't owe me anything. Not your labor, not your life, not your fear." His voice dropped to almost a whisper. "I just couldn't stand there watching 'em hang you for trying to save your family." Mary pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. Tears welled in her eyes. "You did the unthinkable," she whispered. "You saved me." Caleb tilted his hat. "Reckon it's the least a decent man can do." But as they walked toward the outskirts of town, neither of them noticed the shadow watching from behind a saloon door, eyes narrowed, lips twisted into a dangerous grin. For Mary Lawn and Caleb Thorne, this rescue was only the beginning. The moon floated high over the empty plains, washing the land in silver light as Caleb and Mary rode toward the distant hills. The town was long gone behind them, its shouts, its cruelty, its judgment fading into memory. The wind brushed softly against the grass, whispering secrets only the night could understand. Mary clung lightly to Caleb as the horse trotted forward. She wasn't afraid anymore, but she wasn't at peace either. Too much had happened too fast. Her wrists still carried the sting of rope burns. Her heart still carried the terror of standing on that platform. And yet now, beside this quiet, stone-faced rancher who had purchased her freedom for just $1, she felt something unfamiliar. Hope. As they reached Caleb's ranch, an old wooden house surrounded by open land, he dismounted and helped her down. "You can rest inside," he said softly. "Nothin' here's gonna hurt you." Mary's tired eyes scanned the small homestead. A lantern glowed faintly through the window. A stable stood off to the side. Beyond that, a small vegetable patch, dry, but cared for. "You live alone?" she asked. Caleb nodded. "Been that way a long while." She followed him inside. The house was simple but clean. Wooden floors, a small fireplace, a single bed pushed against one wall, a rocking chair that had seen better days. Caleb poured water into a tin cup and handed it to her. "Drink. You're safe here." Mary took a sip. Her hands trembled. "My brother, we need to get to him. He hasn't eaten in days." Caleb nodded. "We'll go at first light. But you need rest if you're gonna be any good to him." She hesitated, then nodded. The exhaustion pressed down on her like a weighted blanket. Caleb stepped back to give her space. "You can take the bed. I'll sleep in the chair." Her eyes widened. "No, Caleb, I can sleep on the floor." He shook his head. "A man doesn't save someone just to treat em poorly afterward." A warmth spread in her chest, confusing, overwhelming. "You're a good man," she whispered. Caleb didn't answer. Instead, he turned toward the window, staring out into the darkness. "Good," he murmured to himself. "Don't know if that's true." Later that night, as the fire crackled and Mary slept at last, Caleb remained awake in the rocking chair. Something gnawed at him, something he had been avoiding for years. His past, the things he'd done as a younger man, the mistakes he carried like invisible scars. He wasn't used to anyone looking at him the way Mary had, like he was a man worth believing in. He didn't feel worthy of it. But when dawn finally broke, painting the horizon with soft blues and pinks, Caleb stood up with a decision in his heart. Whatever came next, he would protect Mary and her brother, no matter the cost. They traveled to a small abandoned barn at the edge of the woods, Mary's hiding place. When she saw her brother lying on a pile of straw, pale and weak, she fell to her knees. "Jonah," she breathed, touching his forehead. "I'm here." The boy, no older than 10, opened his eyes. "Mary." His voice was barely a whisper. Caleb knelt beside them. "He's dehydrated, starving, but he's alive." He opened his saddlebag, took out bread, jerky, and a canteen. "Let him drink slow." Mary watched, tears brimming, as Caleb helped the shaking boy sit up. "You saved him," she whispered. Caleb shook his head. "You did. I'm just helpin'." Jonah ate carefully, slowly regaining strength. Mary wrapped her arms around him, relief washing over her. But then, the crunch of footsteps outside. Caleb froze. His hand went instinctively to the revolver at his hip. Mary's breath caught. "Someone followed us, didn't they?" Caleb's jaw tightened. "Stay behind me." The barn door creaked open. A dark figure stepped inside. Sheriff McGraw. His smirk oozed poison. "Well now, ain't this a sweet little scene?" Mary's heart hammered. Please don't take my brother." McGraw laughed. "Take him. Hell, girl, I'm here for you. Town wasn't happy you slipped away. That $1 Caleb tossed me. Folks didn't like me tacking it." He pointed at Caleb. "And you, always were a thorn in my side." Caleb stepped forward slowly. "Sheriff, walk away." McGraw drew his gun. "No, you walk away, and leave the girl." Mary trembled. Jonah hid behind her. Caleb's voice hardened. "You won't touch them." McGraw cocked the gun. "Oh, I will, and after I'm done, that girl's gonna hang the way she should've." Time slowed. Mary cried out, "Caleb!" A gunshot thundered. Dust exploded from a wooden beam. Jonah screamed. McGraw fired again. Caleb lunged, not away, but forward, knocking McGraw's arm aside, sending the next bullet into the dirt. The sheriff stumbled, cursing, swinging wildly. Caleb tackled him, the two men crashing into the straw-strewn floor. Fists flew. Grunts echoed. Caleb took a blow to the jaw but answered with a fierce strike that sent McGraw reeling. With a final shove, Caleb wrestled the gun from his hand and tossed it far across the barn. McGraw scrambled up, eyes wild. "You're a dead man, Thorne." "No," Caleb growled. "I'm a free man, and so are they." He struck one last time, sending McGraw crashing unconscious to the ground. Mary ran to Caleb, breath shaking. You did the unthinkable again." Caleb wiped the blood from his lip. "No, I just did what was right." She stared at him, heart full. "How can I repay you?" Caleb looked at her gently. "You don't owe me anything. But," his voice softened, "you can stay. Both of you, if you want." Mary's eyes filled with tears. Jonah stepped forward, gripping Caleb's sleeve. "We want," Mary whispered. And for the first time in many years, Caleb smiled. A real one. As the sun rose fully over the plains, the three of them, once strangers, now a family forged from hardship, walked toward the ranch together. Mary glanced back only once, then took Caleb's hand. A new beginning had found them. A new life, a new hope, and as the wind swept across the golden fields, carrying their footsteps into the future, a simple message echoed for every listener of this tale.